And this evening we're going to talk about the state of blockchain in Amsterdam, as well as the future of blockchain. And it's very important to remember that blockchain is great, and each and every one of you here tonight is great because you're involved in blockchain just by attending this evening. So you're probably thinking, who's this guy who moderated the events with the funny wooden bow tie? That's my name, Jonathan Knegtel, and I really like spoons, especially wooden spoons. And what Blockdata does is we collect data on all the components of the blockchain ecosystem to help people understand what's going on. Now, all of us here have probably evaluated a variety of different projects and probably look at blockchain and go, but what does all of this mean? Where is it going? And what I want to do with you is first talk a little bit about Amsterdam. Now, Amsterdam is a city, it's based in the Netherlands on planet Earth, and you're all in it this evening, which is great. And there are a couple of different startups here that are all involved with blockchain technology, and you're probably aware of some of them. But that's where there's actually quite a lot of activity going on in this city that people call Amsterdam. For example, Goods Tickets has sold literally hundreds of thousands of tickets on the blockchain, as far as I'm aware. We have Catalysis, which is doing content on the blockchain, much like Steemit in a way. I'm sure someone here can explain it a little bit better. We have BTC.com, which was originally a wallet which was acquired by one of the largest Bitcoin mining companies, Bitmain. And then we also have Blocks, which is, these guys have been burning a lot of money behind the scene with a whole team of developers to be able to make something much like Coinbase. They're not doing social trading, and it's yet to be announced, but that's where there are also other companies in this ecosystem that are pretty hidden. That's where there's also investment going on. So there's some crypto hedge funds, and there's also products that are to help people make investments, like the one and only Blockport. Yay! We also have Crypto Hopper. Who knows Crypto Hopper? Yeah, algorithmic trading thingy, whatnot. But they also have a large team in Amsterdam Nord, and they're just doing away and making their stuff, which is great. We have Tab Trader. Who knows Tab Trader? It's actually pretty awesome. I don't know if you guys have downloaded their app, but it's pretty good. Bitonic has been here for a long time. These guys are very established in the Dutch ecosystem, and probably all of us here today have interacted with their services one way or another. I know that I bought my first Bitcoin on Bitonic. Then there's also corporates, the big guys. They're also involved with blockchain. And every logo that you see on this page, these guys have had job openings in the last 12 months hiring people specifically for blockchain technology. Now, you can actually find these slides online on the Startup Amsterdam website because we made it for them. So this is all public and you can do your thing. But that's where it's nice to see that they're actually doing blockchain research. And this is a big step forward away from the nerds in 2013 saying like, hey, Bitcoin's a cool little thing. Then we have the universities. Don't read all the content, not worth it. The moral of this slide is there is educational things going on around blockchain technology, and the educators are getting involved, which is really, really nice to see. A particular one is Growth Tribe. Who knows Growth Tribe? A few people. But they started on as growth hacking, and they've always been doing growth hacking, but now they're teaching blockchain in a 2-day course. So we're very interested to see how this is going to evolve. Also in Delft, they have a whole blockchain center. Pretty cool. But that's where blockchain is not just about crypto assets. It's not just about the exchange of currency. It can affect all of these sectors, and all of these sectors have a company that's working on it here in Amsterdam. And that's pretty cool, right? Like if you are, there was a guy earlier who was interested in business development. All of these sectors have a business development aspect on it. And if you're interested in blockchain, you can find a company that's building blockchain technology in the industry of your choice right now, today. Remember, blockchain's great, you're great. But Amsterdam's in the Netherlands. We all know this information. Every single major governmental organization in the Netherlands has experimented with blockchain technology. There are literally hundreds of slides in Dutch where you can understand all the tests that they've done and the results of them. And this is cool. Like, how many other governments do you know that are actively engaging with blockchain technology? There's even somewhere on this list, there's even the trash people of the Netherlands use blockchain. Like, that's really cool. Then we have the Dutch Blockchain Coalition, which is primarily targeted towards corporates to bring all that knowledge together. Then we have adoption. Now, I don't understand why Arnhem has more merchants accepting cryptocurrencies than Amsterdam, but let's just say in this room today that we should try and change this because that's what we want. Because the more people that are using cryptocurrency every single day in the Netherlands, the more attention the Dutch government is going to pay towards blockchain technology. Who here is familiar with Dutch Chain? Dutch Chain hackathon, biggest hackathon in Europe. It was the biggest hackathon in the world. It happened in the Netherlands. Get up to speed, people. And that's where, with these guys, we were actually at the Dutch Central Bank with 200 people in blockchain, speaking to them like directly face to face, because they're like, hey, we're going to have to regulate this space at some point, and they are going to start regulating it from 2020. Every single wallet and exchange that you use as a Dutch citizen, you will have to go through a KYC AML procedure, period. Happening 2020, get used to it. The days of hillbilly blockchain is gone. And there's events. There's various different conferences. Money 2020 is literally the largest fintech event in the world. And the one that they held in Europe was here in Amsterdam. And for some reason, I ended up on stage with Ton pitching a fake ICO, which was really weird. I even went under a fake name. They stopped me at security. Very funky. Great experience, 10 out of 10. Then there's the hackathons that are going on, which is good because it's engaging the developer ecosystem. Then we have the reoccurring meetups, events like Bitcoin Wednesday, blockchain talks, shout out to Build, woo! And the fact there are company meetups. Now, obviously, Waves is Russian. They have a whole base here in Amsterdam at Primal Base. Huobi, definitely not Dutch. And Fetch AI also from London, and there's the Ethereum NL. Pascal was here earlier, and he's one of the organizers of the Ethereum meetup. But there's other ecosystems all around the world, and the Dutch ecosystem, people know there's stuff going on, but there isn't really a blockchain ecosystem here. In Berlin, some very fancy people made these very fancy images, very nice. But one thing to know is ETH Berlin. Who knows ETH Berlin? Great, no one. So ETH Berlin was a community-organized event where they said, let's just organize all events all on the same week and see who comes. Literally all the largest names in crypto ended up going to Berlin that week to go and interact with the local ecosystem. Let's try and do something like that here in Amsterdam. Probably. Yay. Yay. Woo. That's what we like. Then there's the fact that Zurich and Zug, now they took it a step further and they actually did the Crypto Valley Association. There is not a blockchain-based association to help businesses come together here in the Netherlands. We should probably do that, right? Yeah, that's what we like on a Friday night. Energy. The Dutch ecosystem in general is definitely growing, it's definitely great, and the regulators are on board with what we're doing, and that's really, really cool. So, blockchain. Where's blockchain going? Does anybody know? No, because no one knows. This is what's happened over the last couple of years. Here was the first bubble. Everyone said, oh my God, Tulip Mania, crazy. It's just, that's it. It's nothing. And these were the innovators that came into the blockchain ecosystem. Then we had the early adopters that came in early 2017. Now, early adopters is the politically correct word. I tend to call them advanced Instagram users. Because they, like their friends, started saying, hey, blockchain and whatnot. Then your postman started telling you about crypto. That's really when you should have sold. If that happens again, remember, sell your shit. But now, as the ecosystem has moved on, the tech ecosystem and the real entrepreneurs are really starting to get involved to see how they can capitalize on the technology. And the way I like to look at this graph is not at market cap. It's actually by looking at, if you relate the blue line to the amount of knowledge and the amount of human capital being invested into improving blockchain technology. So right now, this line is actually higher than this line. That's a good thing. Let's keep it up. The recent capitulation over the last couple of days, people have left the ecosystem, people are going to go work for corporates again. Bad, so as the price starts to go up, hopefully these people will return to the bright side. But this is where blockchain technology is different. It's not like AI, it's not like the Internet of Things, because fundamentally it is a network. And a network means network effects. And that's really, really nice, because as more people get involved in the network, they start to tell their friends, etc., etc. So who's here has heard about Metcalfe's law? I can't really say it properly, I'm really dyslexic, so. No? Oh, come on, man. So this is it. it's a little bit complex, but what this says is the value of the network, which is the red line, is proportional to the size of the square of the size n of the network. So as more and more people get involved in blockchain, the value of the network gets increased. Now, we're making this a little bit abstract, where we're just calling the value the market cap, and the N of the amount of people interacting and utilizing blockchain technology. But it's really important to note that this critical mass crossover point has not happened yet. So we're still in this phase where the value of the network is quite low. Now, this is actually Facebook's revenue versus the amount of users as they had, and you saw that there was a steady increase. Now, obviously, just like a traditional market, they always also had ups and downs in this, but there was a critical point here where the world really started to change, and then they made teenagers really depressed forever. Now, we don't want to do that with blockchain because we want to change the world for the better, right? Yeah, great. Blockchain, we love blockchain. But it's very important to remember that blockchain stands for distributed ledger technology and not cryptocurrency. If you go home this Christmas and your parents ask you about blockchain and you start telling them about Bitcoin, you're doing it wrong, okay? Distributed ledger technology. And fundamentally, it allows us to create an exchange of value. Now, where is value exchanged in our day-to-day lives? This is my favorite slide. You ready? There's the individual layer where you and I will interact. Oh, sorry. Am I getting way too excited? Someone can tell me, guys. So there's the individual layer where you and I interact with one another, like this experience today. Then you have the organizational layer where you have companies like yourself, like Blockport, and there's interactions that happen between you, the employee, the individual, and the company, but also companies between themselves. Now we have an industry. So blockchain is an industry, AI is an industry, as well as, let's say, Uber Eats, Deliveroo. And there's also all these interactions that are happening at that level. Then you have the national layer where you start engaging with the governments, the local city councils, and there's an exchange of value going on there. And value in this regard can even mean voting because you're standing for your own rights. Then you get to a regional layer where you have your whole country and how this affects the country that's going on, but also the countries around it. There's trade that's happening between countries. And what I'm trying to get across here is there's constantly all these values interacting between all of these different layers, and blockchain necessarily isn't the answer to all that value exchange, but trust me, and I think you will think this yourselves, it can definitely play a very important role. A trustless-based system is very important. And then you have the international layer. We're all part of planet Earth, right? Let's make it a better place, because at the end of the day, we're all part of the universe layer, right? And let's not forget that we're just a tiny little insignificant part of this entire system of things and particles and physics, right? And so what blockchain can do is effectively change the social mesh of what's going on. Now, this is extremely hippie, what I'm telling you here, but we're living in it. Like, just by you being at this event right now, you're already engaged in the movement and the translation and the change of this social mesh and the way that value is exchanged. The solutions are not here today, but people are trying to build them and people are iterating upon them. That's what we saw about the last panel about investments. And it's very important to remember when you look at blockchain and the value that blockchain can bring to technology is not going away anytime soon. If someone would come to you and take your phone and your laptop away, I guarantee you that you're going to chase them and get your shit back, right? If someone would take Instagram away, everyone would be like, yeah, but I like Instagram, right? Right. And so it's not so much about how we can stop these apps from ruining our lives and our mental state through addiction and whatever you want to call it, but it's how can we make it better? And it comes back to this exchange of value again, because every time we interact with anything, it's an exchange of value. If we can trust a trustless system that is potentially distributed, yes or no, this is a step in the right direction. So what's actually happening? Well, Web 2.0 and the TCP and HTTP protocol is very much like linear. Like you go here and you go and ask a server for a piece of information and it gives it to you back. It doesn't really care about you or whatever. And traditional finance, they really don't care about you, right? Let's look at 2008 and also what Ton mentioned about interest rate. You can argue all you want that there is not another recession coming. However, I would think a little bit critically about your answer. Traditional finance is not designed to be a long-term solution, and it's run by people that do not think in the long term. They think in the short term. And there is financial journalists here in the Netherlands that I would recommend that you look up that literally are saying that the bankers are literally buying time right now for the economy. And it's very important that you are fully aware of this. So Web 3.0, it's the future, it's the solution, yay. And so that's where we can't look at the current status of things and be really depressed because the potential solutions are there. It's maybe not all perfect, not everything works yet, but the point is there's lots of people working on it. And if you look at that graph earlier, there's more people that were working on it than over a year and a half ago. So we're working in the right direction. Then there's regulation. And right now, most of the regulators around the world are just sitting and watching. Yellow means these countries are actively watching. I actually did this on a Sunday night. How exciting is my life? And they're actively watching what's happening with blockchain technology. Then you have the red that have had no official comment, but we also have green colors, which means that they have actually started to introduce blockchain-related and cryptocurrency-related regulation. This is a step in the right direction. 22 member states from the European Union are now working on a European blockchain partnership. This is serious. 340 million, it's not a little bit of money. It's more than 339, remember that. Then there's the fact that the International Monetary Fund, now it's a long article, but literally the woman who runs this thing, it's very important apparently, no one really understands why, but that's where she literally said, we are very serious about blockchain technology and we're very interested to see where it's going, and we have to, as a global society, be open for change. Now, this is the International Monetary Fund. It's also not a small organization. So these are important snippets that you should take away from this evening and be like, you know what, yeah, we can actually do this. Because we're building a better future together. Does this sound really hippie, this whole presentation? Yeah, I think it does. But you're meant to be motivated, all right? And we spoke about the hype cycle earlier, and right now blockchain is here. I would imagine right now it's somewhere a little bit further down. But the point is yes, people have lost a lot of money over the last couple of months, years, however you traded. But that's where the point is we will get up to a plateau of productivity and a slope of enlightenment. That's something that will happen over time. And who's familiar with this graph? Right, great. So I'll explain it to the rest of you. So Bitcoin was started, whoever, whatever, and this was the eruption phase where people started iterating on the technology. Then what happens is the Instagram users found out about crypto, god damn it. And then this frenzy moment started, and then your postman started telling you about it, and then we had a crash. And right now where the ecosystem is, it's in this gray zone. We don't like gray zones. Gray zones is always bad, doesn't matter what movie you watch. But what's interesting about this, and also back to Ton's comment in the panel, was that if the market and traditional finance crashes, the solution of blockchain technology, even though not perfect, there's some of it there. So we're gonna, and then if we can get to this synergy phase, that's when really we start to get to the trillions of crypto asset valuation that we spoke about earlier. Whether this is through ICOs, STOs, security-backed tokens, I don't know what else. The point is that some of the solutions are out there. We just have to make it work. And again, why do we have to make this work? Because blockchain it's an important technology. But that's where over the last couple of years, there have been a lot of failed projects, and there's been a lot of speculation of what's happening in the ecosystem. And that's bad because people lose money. But the thing is, and we all know this picture, right? We all know what's going on. Yeah, it's happened all the time, repetitively, again and again. But the thing is, it comes back to this iteration. People are iterating over the technology again and again and again. If you look at the dot-com bubble, people tried to sell pet food online, and the companies failed in 1990. But now we buy pet food online all the time. The ideas that people are coming up with now are very valid, but it's just maybe not the right time, and the technology is not advanced enough. So the moral of that story is just keep on going. And it's very important to not compare apples versus oranges. A utility token is different than a security token, but it's up to you as an individual to understand what the differences are with all of these nuances in blockchain technology. And what I really don't like, and this is one of the last slides in regards to the whole ecosystem, is we all spend a fuckload of time trying to understand everything that's going on, and it's really annoying when there's a lot of marketing speak hiding the true vision of what the companies are doing. I'm looking at the marketeer in the room. And so that's actually the reason why, because as you can see, I'm very passionate about blockchain technology, but I'm also really, really lazy. So that's why we started a company which makes blockchain research really simple. And so that's what we do, and it makes blockchain research really simple. And you can sign up at that link. Yeah, and blockchain is great, and you're great. Any questions?